Last year, against the backdrop of the COVID-19 pandemic, Singapore faced its worst recession and the largest budget deficit since independence. This year, the battle against the virus isn't over, but Budget 2021 is focusing on emerging stronger in a post-COVID-19 world. What will it mean for you? In his budget speech, Finance Minister Heng Swee Keat noted the pandemic's impact on the economy.
Singapore's GDP contracted by 5.4% in 2020. The overall budget deficit for financial year 2020 is also the largest since Singapore's independence at $64.9 billion.
Well, we incurred this deficit to fund the immediate needs in terms of rising up from COVID-19. But unfortunately, because the needs were so great, we ended up spending more than we collected. And we dipped into it last year, and we'll likely dip into it again this year. But this is something we cannot do in the long term. We definitely need to be able to turn the corner, and the best way to do that is by increasing the economic pie.
And some of the ways to grow the economic pie may be in the recently launched Singapore Green Plan 2030. The Green Plan is a roadmap for the country to achieve more sustainable development. One of the key targets? A greener commute. To encourage the move to electric vehicles, the targeted number of charging points by 2030 will be increased to 60,000, up from the previous target of 28,000. A total of $30 million will also be set aside for EV-related initiatives. Eigen Energy is in the solar energy business, but it recently expanded its reach to include electric vehicle charging.
We see EV charging as complementary to whatever that we are currently doing as a company. So we come in as engineering services as well as a systems integrator for sustainable infrastructure. So we can play a part in the current environment whereby we are looking into be environmentally more friendly as we gradually wean off away from hydrocarbon-based energy in Singapore.
Currently, Eigen Energy's EV charging venture makes up 10% of its business. But with Singapore's plans to phase out petrol and diesel-powered cars by 2040, it anticipates that to triple by 2025.
So with the government's push, we see a ramp up in terms of infrastructure here in Singapore. EV charging implementation can be relatively capital intensive during deployment. Also, monetization with regard to EV charging stations can take a relatively long horizon before they can actually realize back the capital. I think the $30 million will be very helpful in terms of getting infrastructure ready.
60,000 charging points by 2030 is a big jump. But Peter Huang, who is already driving an electric car, questions if that is sufficient if Singapore wants to phase out petrol vehicles by 2040.
Sometimes accidentally petrol cars will park at a charging spot, or sometimes people are fully charged and they still are in the charging spot. So there will be incidents where availability is limited because of such unfortunate situations. So if you only have 60,000, you can only really serve 180,000 cars, which is kind of low considering we have 1 million cars on the road today. So I hope this number can be much more.
Though Peter himself is already an EV convert, he finds that others are less willing to make the change.
I chose to go with an electric car for a few reasons. Firstly, it has the lowest energy consumption. It has the lowest maintenance fees that you can have versus a petrol car. And I wanted to leave behind a better environment for my child and for his future kids. My friends have been generally quite curious about my choices. They think it's a cool idea, but they've not been taking the plunge for a variety of reasons. Some people say it's a charging infrastructure issue. Some people say it's the price of the car. The government is taking very strong steps to negate these two primary concerns, which I think is great. But I still think that there needs to be education to create a mindset shift.
Sabana Jurong is a building consultancy company, and it wants to make it easier for people to make a different but still green mindset shift.
For example, rubbish disposal in a lot of our HDB estates. I think that's going to change. At the moment, there's a single rubbish chute. In future, it could be one for reusable plastics. It could be one for the wet rubbish and so on. Distance to MRT station, cycling path, for example. So that we can offer different modes of mobility. Less dependence on cars, more dependent on lesser type of carbon emission type of mobility devices. And of course, moving forward, the electric vehicles, the autonomous vehicle will also come into play.
Technology will be a game changer.
So we have built an algorithm that will be able to simulate the flooding pattern in a particular area. Just by that algorithm, we can determine which area will be flooded based on the intensity of the rainfall. The other technology is really in the use of materials. We are looking at reusing materials for, let's say, highway, the surface level of the highway, to be able to absorb heat at the same time emit less carbon in the process of being manufactured. So with the budget being put emphasis onto sustainability, it therefore pushes the boundary for a lot of the projects.
After the break, a look at how Budget 2021 will impact workers and businesses. Despite the historic deficit, a further $11 billion has been committed to the COVID-19 resilience package. The package will go towards public health and safe reopening, support for workers and businesses, and support for worst-hit sectors. One of the key measures in the package is the Job Support Scheme, which provides wage support to businesses. First announced in April 2020, it will be extended yet again by up to 6 months for the hardest hit sectors. Another initiative that was announced last year is the SG United Jobs and Skills Package. Its aim is to create jobs, traineeships and skills training opportunities. This year, another $5.4 billion has been allocated to it, with $5.2 billion going to extend the jobs growth incentive. The JGI benefits companies by providing wage support for new hires. With the boost, the hiring window has been extended by 7 months. Eigen Energy has taken advantage of the incentive.
The jobs growth incentive was very helpful for us. We decided that instead of towing the line of caution, we decided to actually be a little bit bolder in our steps. So we decided to actually expand our team. We increased our headcount in the office by about 50%. So looking ahead with the extension of another 7 months, we see that there's more runway for us to actually chart our growth in terms of manpower in Singapore again.
It had also previously made use of the Job Support Scheme and is looking forward to all the continued help.
So having tapped onto the previous support schemes which were available to us in the previous year's budget, and with the new schemes and the extension of the schemes which are in the current budget as well, we foresee that it's a very good opportunity for us to continue riding this wave and to be a bit bolder and expand into the overseas market as well. So not just setting our foot here in sunny Singapore, but of course into other countries as well.
Many other companies had also benefited from the 2 wage support schemes. Food supplier Yu Tiao Man is one of them.
The JSS was very important because it helped us to retain workers, even when business was slow.
The firm mainly supplied to airlines, hotels and food establishments and was extremely hard hit by the pandemic.
During COVID, we lost 50% of our business, so we decided to supply directly to the retail customers. And what we did was we set up an online store, and I remember the day vividly. It was April 11. We started the online store in the morning, and we didn't have any hopes that it would succeed because who would buy frozen youtiao? But within 5 minutes, our orders came in. And at that moment, we realized that the e-commerce strategy could work.
But the transformation was not easy.
The first thing we had to do is to recalibrate our machines. So from 28 cm, we made the product short so that it would be put into your home appliances like air fryers and pan fry. We also had to educate our consumers. It was a whole new way of eating a product. Internally, we've had software upgrades. We've had new platforms that were able to communicate with each other. We had to educate our employees, teach them, and nurture them so that they could handle this new challenge.
So you can see this one.
In order to meet the challenges, the company tapped on the JGI to hire new workers.
With the government grants in place, we felt that it was very favourable to hire Singaporeans. A lot of workers, they are mid-career, in their 40s to 50s. Under the JGI, we hired 3 to 4 new employees, and we trained them. It was very encouraging for us because they've been able to perform really well and they contribute very well to our company.
Angela Yong was one of the new hires. Before joining Youtiao Man, she had been caring for a mother who had suffered a stroke. She had only been able to hold down ad hoc jobs and was unfamiliar with workplace technologies.
Haven't been out of the industry for so long. I think it's really blessed, and I'm so lucky to join Youtiao Man, and they are very tolerant of me being slow to teach me and exposing me to new things that have been going on in the industry.
Besides wage support, Budget 2021 is also providing a boost for mature businesses looking to invest in new and emerging technologies. A total of $1 billion has been set aside for 3 different schemes. Youtiao Man is hoping to tap on the CTO as a Service initiative, which will help provide access to IT consultants.
I will be the first to jump on board of it. The reason is because we have been growing digitally in the tech space, but we have no one to map the progress for us. So development has been quite haphazard. I'd like someone to be able to map it for me and to see where we should go further.
Another company looking to take advantage of Budget 2021 is MOV. It used to provide equipment and technical support for events and productions.
COVID-19 have a large impact on live events and entertainment industry. When foreign and local events start cancelling, we can't rent out equipments. Rental came to a halt, revenue came to an entire halt, about 90%. We have to change the traditional thinking of live event, and we have to think about doing events virtually, or thinking about how we can do it online. All right, okay.
And the co-funding schemes will be a boon for their new approach.
We're going to tap into the emerging technology program. We're going to use 5G technology to do more live streaming events because it's going to smoothen the whole communication path. On top of that, we're going to use the AI technology because, of course, virtual events are taking place with the help of AR and VR.
Beyond established businesses, help had been given to new graduates entering the weakened job market as well, by way of the SG United Traineeships program.
The SG United Traineeship program was rolled out in June last year to help fresh graduates from the ITE, Polytechnic and universities gain access to traineeship opportunities. So in a way, it helps the fresh graduates acquire industry-relevant skills, build up their professional network, as well as enhance their employability and their resume to help them tide through the pandemic.
One beneficiary of the program is banking and finance graduate Ivan Goh.
So entering the job market as a fresh graduate definitely made me feel anxious because after all, I'm not the only fresh graduate that's entering the market searching for a job. This traineeship encompasses almost the full responsibility of a full-time role, but also garner the full support from the company as well in terms of the training and support for the employee, which is why I think compared to other graduates, I think I'm very fortunate to really benefit from the traineeship.
For some trainees, the scheme does more than just boost their resume.
It helps them assess whether the role is actually aligned to their career aspiration. It's some sort like a career trial. And for some of them, they may have other interests beyond their areas of study. And also for those from specialization in COVID-impacted sectors, job opportunities may not be a lot. It provides an opportunity for them to look out for other adjacent opportunities in other sectors.
Coming up next, help for households and families. Budget 2021 also emphasizes the importance of society.
The pandemic has deepened the cracks in many societies. To strengthen our social compact, we must work together to address the challenges faced by the more vulnerable members of our society.
One such vulnerable member is 75-year-old Tan Swan Ek, who works as a part-time petrol pump attendant. He lives with his 70-year-old wife in a rental flat. His wife is a school bus attendant. Together, their income is $1,600 a month. After paying their rent and household bills, they barely have $200 left.
水电费呢成本高，现在一个月100多块，买450块，一天我们有吃起来一天要30块。那么我呢有高血压，那么有胆固醇，我太太是有 cancer 啊，那么每3个月要去看医生，那么政府有扣我们75%，医药费啊，2个人加起来要70多块。我的孩子没有工作。 儿子有孩子，两个孩子在读书，那么我不要跟他子拿，只是我们2个人靠自己做工来维持。
To help families like the Tans, the government has set aside $900 million under the household support package. This package includes different GST vouchers and extended rebates on service and conservancy charges. Tan is very happy with the support.
政府帮助我们呢，省下我们的做日常的费用，那么也是我们2夫妻存起来，要有什么紧急时用的时候拿来用。现在有做工，有吃得饱就很好了。
Muhammad Faisal's family is also set to benefit from Budget 2021. Faisal had a full-time job and was also a part-time religious teacher. His wife was working as well. But last year, everything changed.
Previously, I had a full-time job, so in terms of finance, we were stable. During COVID, things started to happen. I was pregnant with my 4th child, and a series of illnesses came in. I told my husband that I need to step back from my work. After that, I was told that I had breast cancer stage 2. So it was then that I realized that our financial stability is going to be challenged. But moments like this, we need to have a strong support from family. So he decided to leave his job to help me go through the whole treatment.
The medical bill was the most worrying part, and also the welfare of the children, and also the newborn, and our parents are old age, so these are all piled up.
Education expenses were a definite concern for Faisal's family.
I have 2 boys in P1, and then my daughter were in K1. Educating our children can be a costly thing. Their school fees, their stationeries, for their books, and for their enrichment classes. And all of these can accumulate to a a big amount, yeah, for monthly expenses.
To get by, Faisal took on part-time jobs.
Odd jobs that I've taken up, helping some of my friends doing delivery. At the same time, also to teach online. It is like 2,000 to 3,000 per month.
Supplementing that this year will be the cash payouts and rebates from the household support package, as well as the newly announced top-up of $200 for the education needs of every child under 21.
This package is very helpful. It really come in handy and also timely, especially a big family like mine. We are very grateful of it and hope that the government will increase more of these helps.
We are still in the midst of transiting, getting back things on track. Since my health also getting back on track, we are hoping that by getting continual support from the government will help our transition well in terms of finance.
And the family certainly has plans for the future.
Having assistance and support from the government is great, but being self-reliant is more important. We are opening our lifestyle shops, and we are selling our books, our Islamic products, and our toys, our board games, and also some of the clothing, and that we hope that it can become our return to our normal income and so on. We hope also to find out if there are any grants that can assist us in our upcoming business. Some of my friends told me there are plenty actually. So this is where we need to be more savvy in finding out information about these matters.
As the Finance Minister noted, Budget 2021 is about looking ahead.
Let us continue to focus on what lies ahead and chart a clear direction forward. Let us strive to emerge stronger together as a united and shining red dot trusted by all.